Thank you for tuning in to Serendipity with Sheila, the podcast that helps you align your mission with your passion. As a universal master energy healer, Sheila can help you awaken and align with your true self so you can live the purposeful life you were made for. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Serendipity with Sheila, and I am your host, Reverend Sheila B. Tillich. And thank you so much for joining me on my beautiful podcast and all my guests that I have. And today you're going to have a real treat because I have a special friend who's on. Her name is Jani Roberts. Jani, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. It's a privilege.
I'm so glad. I've been wanting to have you on for quite a while, so I'm glad we finally was able to line this up exactly in the new energy where we need to be. That's where we are. Great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your bio here. I want to tell my audience about you. Okay, so Jani Roberts is the owner of Alignment Essentials and is the creator of all the Alignment Essentials programs, including Warrior, workouts, moving meditations, inspirational conversations, and all of the Alignment Essential programs content. She is also host of the Living in Alignment podcast, Inspirational Conversations for Living in Alignment. Today, my beautiful host, Jani, she's going to share some of the journey with us that led her to her work, helping you to live in alignment. All right. So you can contact Jani. I'm going to tell the address at the very end again, but it's alignmentessentials.com, or you can find her on Facebook and Instagram at Alignment Essentials. Welcome, 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 Jani. I'm so excited to have you here. All right. Namaste. Namaste. All right. All right. My dear sister. Ooh, we go back a few years and we've been evolving together, very much so. And this show is about serendipity, how we got here, and I love to hear other people's stories, how they got here, because it tells our evolution and it tells where we're going and how we all do this together.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't do it alone. Yeah.
Yeah,
so what I'd like to do is, I want you to, what was it?
We are all in it together. That is for sure.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want you to tell us a little bit, my listeners, a little bit about you and what led you to your career of what you do today. How'd you get there?
Sure. It's such a big question. First, I just want to thank you again for having me. The work that you do is so essential to all of us, and certainly has been essential to my journey, my life journey in this lifetime and moving forward. You played, I'm sure you remember, but Serendipity, right? I was up north on the property where I hold my retreats, and I was really feeling like, okay, I'm doing this for others and I need some self-care. And then, a friend mentioned what you were doing. I knew nothing about it. I just went and signed up, because that's just kind of how I roll. When something falls right in my lap, it's like, well, here's the gift. Don't ask too many questions. Just, learn the lesson, make it easy on yourself. So off I went, and I don't know if you remember, but when we were in session with you, I just couldn't really speak a lot, which for people who know me, that's a surprise because I'm a chatty. But I was just so relieved and so grateful and so joyous in the fact that I felt that I had come home. I remember saying to you, where have you been? Where have you guys been? Like, I'd been in this kind of holding pattern, patiently waiting. Right? And there it was, so I share this because for your guests, it's just so that the divine is always, creator is always offering up an opportunity, a path, a direction, a guidance, always. And it's just whether or not we're present enough to pay attention.
Exactly.
And if we miss it, sometimes it's okay. But, it's nice when we don't. And I landed there, and it really was, it was when my journey took a real turn in the direction that it needed to go. So I thank you for that. I thank you for just doing the work that you do and working the magic that you work, and, for taking this road less traveled to help all of us find our way. So that first and foremost, because I think I did all that through a lot of tears, and it was great. It was wonderful. The whole experience was wonderful. But my journey has just been, like probably most of your listeners, a lifelong one. I started dabbling in this work of mind, body, spirit, and breath when I was, as long as I can remember, because my grandmother was Cherokee. She was very connected. We were very connected, and we had an incredible bond. And that's what we would spend our time talking about. And she's with me always. I mean, I have her with me always, and she guides me always. And so it was the beginning of a big journey. Like we all go on this road, this path. And I think more often than not, we wonder what the heck it is we're doing here, along the way. Why does this have to be so hard? And geez, life is a struggle, and all of this kind of thing that these emotions and these challenges, if you will. And just we kind of get into this, well, it's just life. And my inner being, my inner one was, particularly one of them, was very set in the belief that don't buy into that. Always look for what is working. Yes.
Distrust.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah. And just wasn't buying into it. And that really helped me. But, life is challenging. And it wasn't until I really understood the healing, work that I needed to do. I wasn't even aware of what was there, so you only know what you know. So I just think it's so important for people to, be easy about this. I went on to just create many platforms. I've always been a student, and therefore always a teacher, always a student, always looking, learning, reading, exploring. But that ability to feel into what is right for you in the moment, that's the practice. Right? So that we don't have to go outside of ourselves. It's wonderful to have teachers and guides. Thank goodness for all of them. They're all blessings. But we also have to do the work of feeling into and going in and doing the work with Creator ourselves, right? To find our way and it kind of get back in touch with our real intention and why we're here. So it's, I'm healer. I was an artist my whole life. I was an athlete my whole life. I have many labels.
What type of artist were you? What type of artist?
I was a professional dancer.
Really? Wow.
Musician. Yeah, my husband.
I know that, but my audience doesn't know that. So I'm just gonna.
We've sang a few songs together, you and I. Done a few dances, and it's been wonderful. Yeah. So channeling my gifts that I received from Creator, into my life experience was what I felt led to do. But there's that's kind of what we do. It's not who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an artist through and through, but it's not all that I am. That's not the whole, right? So I think we kind of bob and weave, and we just bump around and figure out, what it is. But where we want to go next, and why, that question of I didn't come here to just check stuff off a list. Come on, this is great, but come on, where's the juicy stuff? And then there's the wounds that we accumulate along the way, which are plentiful in the human experience, and how we manage those. So I am really, I am a healer, but I am just like everyone listening to this podcast, doing whatever I can to serve and to be served.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you ready to expand your healing? Visit SheilaTillich.com/events to find an online or in-person event near you. That's SheilaTillich.com/events. Now back to the episode.
Yeah.
That's right. So, listen, can you describe what it feels like to see someone shift? I know we were talking about being a healer and helping other people. How describe how it feels to you when you help somebody shift into alignment, and what is it, something that you see them do differently in their actual lives once they are in alignment? I mean, the changes, the experiences that you've seen people evolve. Just like I see the change in you from when I first met you when I was doing my retreats, and you came and we were by the campfire and you started the meditation and motion and the music and fire, and it was like so healing. It was wonderful. And I know so many other women were touched by that and were changed. I know I was. And I love that kind of communication. So some of the other people, what do you think? The difference in seeing them
It,
change and become
yeah, it's
alignment.
really such a privilege. And I think the biggest feeling I can equate to that is when you experience your own healing, because you know what you're not feeling exactly what they're feeling. You can certainly feel into it, but you know what it feels like when you have those breakthrough moments, when pieces start to come together. I'm a big believer that movement and music equals meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So I work a lot with frequency, with movement, and with music. And I feel that it really helps to accelerate the process for people because music is so powerful.
Oh, powerful.
So powerful. We all know it, right? It can make us laugh. It can make us cry. It can just make us act silly. We don't even plan it. It comes on and we're like, what? So that to me is a very powerful tool. But I feel this tremendous sense of appreciation and gratitude for that person when they make that movement, when they step into that healing environment. They're so brave to
Exactly.
do it, because most people just don't want to, because in my experience, most people think it's going to have to get really uncomfortable before it gets comfortable, when really it can't get any more uncomfortable than it is when you're in pain.
Yeah. When you're stuck and you don't know where to go, it's like, oh my goodness.
Right. So I feel like this is where we can really honor pain, because when pain becomes intolerable, we do something about it.
Right. So how do you come up with your meditation and movement? How does that come out?
Yeah,
Do you
that's all very much guided. I would say for sure. I would say that music is the biggest piece. When I spend hours and hours and hours just listening to music and just exploring it. Genres that are kind of considered underground, even not so much the popular music, although I do use current music as well. But just there are so many people with musical gifts. They just have, no one knows about them necessarily, right? But they're like the best kept secret. And you hear this music and it moves you. And so that then will, when we do the movement, like the moving meditations that you're talking about, we take movement and we put it to music and we connect it to an emotion. So then, like, let's say, for example, you're dealing with anxiety, you might want to do the moving meditation for anxiety, which is about 3.5 to 4 minutes long. The music, it permeates anxiety. That if there are lyrics, they might also help to permeate that. So that then acknowledge it, not ignore it, not deny it. It is happening. I am having a very anxious moment. Like I might need a paper bag, okay, this is really happening. So now what can you control? What do you have? What can you choose?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do get to choose.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do. So having those tools, I mean, like so many of the tools that you offer, right to the point of this podcast, is essential for people. I mean, thank the universe for all of my teachers that divinely came when I called. And sometimes they were a little late, like you, but you were right on time because I wasn't ready. So I was early. You weren't late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I was like, where's everybody? And then when I just kind of threw my hands up and said, I'm going to go to this thing, whatever, I just need to, and there you
Retreat. Women's
Yep.
retreat. Yeah. It's about, stepping into your divineness, who you are. Yeah. And exactly. And now look at you, so.
Well, we are all a work in progress. And
Absolutely. And I always say we're all miracles in construction. God's not done with us. Thank God.
yes, thank
All
God.
miracles construction. Thank God. We're not done yet.
Yes.
So I'm working on my patience today because workers are working above me and they're hammering away. And I'm giggling because I'm saying, I hope they can hear Jani through this podcast.
I was just thinking maybe the universe was going, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's when we were talking about the music and they started tapping. It's like, all right.
Thumbs up, we're on the right track.
I know.
Monthly group healing sessions are now available on sheilatillich.com/events. These group healing sessions take place on the first Tuesday of every month and include guided group healing and/or exercises depending on the need of the group. Because this is a more intimate group, it is developed based on the needs of the group during the session. This is to support us as we move through this ascension process and we are experiencing similar things at the same time. To register for the next monthly group healing sessions, please visit our event page, sheilatillich.com/events. Thank you for listening. Now back to the episode.
So tell me, Jani, how do you help people today? All right. Tell
Well,
us more about living in alignment program. What does that mean? What is that?
Living in alignment program is foundational to me. So having been on this path for a long time, and as you know, there are many directions that you can choose to go in. And there are many forms of a powerful healing out there. And sometimes when you first step into it, you don't realize how many there are.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different ways to go. And so, you sift and sort, right? That's what we're doing here. We come in, we start sifting and sorting. And so what I foundationally thought was valuable was for people who are really getting started with this type of work, was to give them some foundational tools and ideas and a step-by-step kind of track to run on.
Kind of meet them where they're at, right?
Yes, exactly. Meeting them where they are, right? Because you can't get it wrong. Just don't watch the news. You can't get it wrong, right?
You got that right.
But where most people are doing the best they can with what they have, with what they've experienced and what they believe to be true. And it might not be working well for them, but they really are thinking, well, this is what I was taught and this is what I believe. And you can't pull that rug out from underneath me because the foundation will crumble. And then what do I do? Because this is what I believe to be true. So it's not about changing anybody's mind. It's just about looking at, well, how is that working for you? Because if you're living mostly in joy, then obviously you're doing what you need to be doing. So we really are helping people to have the tools and have a path to help them really reconnect with themselves, first of all. So when I ask someone, how do you feel today? They can actually tell me.
Yeah.
Because they've been practicing paying attention to how they feel. They're no longer just, right? Just going through the motions. Sounds super simple, and it really kind of is simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It's like getting a new job. You've got to have some tools and you need some guidance. And then once you get your groove going, you're like, training wheels are off. I can start moving forward. So really building that foundation and then guiding people, it progresses, right? I'm sure you've had many situations where you're speaking with someone and you're guided, and then you have to process, do I truly feel that this person is ready to hear this right now? Is the time right for this? Because I don't want to project on them, and I don't want to try to move them too fast. None of that is my business. I'm here to listen and to learn and to guide. So being really careful about honoring people where they are. And so if they're saying, my marriage is over. I'm a complete failure. This divorce has destroyed me. It's destroyed my relationship with my children. Like, this is real for them. So if
Yeah.
I say to them, well, what if I was to tell you that, this divorce is a fabulous gift because now you are much clearer about what you don't want in a relationship, with just as valuable as what you do.
Exactly.
They might punch me in the face.
Yeah, but you know what? There's no coincidence that they're there and they want your help. And then, just give them the positive choices. It's like, look at the positive, turn it or flip it around. Always flip it around, and it's always about energy and their thinking and how they react to things.
And perspective and
Exactly.
wounds they might be dealing with because their parents went through
Yeah,
a difficult divorce. I mean, there are fragmented parts of us that just need to be healed.
exactly. Exactly. And we all have a role in that healing, just showing up in there and showing up.
Yes. So that's what I mean when I say they're so brave. But I do think it's kind of like, I think most people can relate to this. It's like having a physical illness or injury or something that's so super annoying,
But nobody can see it.
but nobody can see it.
Nobody
That's
can
it.
see it.
But you can feel it, and it's so annoying, and it won't go away until finally you're like, oh, fine, I won't eat sugar.
Yeah.
Fine. Because we just fight it.
Well, it's yeah, but it also is somebody's bottom. It's time for them to hit their bottom, and it's like, and that's where the universe comes in. When you were talking about the universe stuff, it's like no coincidence. It's time, and then of course letting them make the choices. They have to decide on whether they want to do the work and do different, not harder, but do
Powerful.
different. And then the tools that we can give them, right?
Absolutely. And when people realize, you mean I'm in control of how
Yes,
I feel? Yeah.
choices,
Yeah.
choices.
It's so like, because
Mind
it seems like duh, but it's not, because you don't realize. I always say, we're all under the influence. The question is, of what?
what? And there's so many things that's coming to the open that's been hidden for so long. And then people will just kind of like go down that trap. But it's like, no, we're all underneath the influence. And it's really about what you want out of your life and how you make the choices and decide on doing something about it. Yeah, it's just cool.
Yeah.
Jenny, I know you have retreats and you have a couple of them coming up. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell my listeners about what those retreats are like.
Well, you have been to the magical space.
Yeah, I have. And it's like, it's one of my favorite places to be, especially when there's a full moon up on your land, up on the mountain, up in the cabin. And it's just the fire, just let the fire roll and just watch that moon come up. And as you remember, in the middle of the night, I was out a lot underneath that moon, dancing underneath that moon by myself in cold weather. It's magical, magical.
Completely. So there's very little light pollution in this space. And so you galactically just go, oh, it's
Yeah,
just,
you're in there. Yeah.
Father Sky is,
Oh, it's wonderful.
it's like just the canopy of all of that. But the reason that I started to do retreats when I did, which was like several years ago, and I've done a variety of them. They are always morphing and changing based on what people need. But that was the place I really hesitated to do it, because that is the place that I would always go for my own healing. So when I was crashing and burning, I would just be like, get me to the farm. And everything would just feel better,
Did you feel like you didn't want to share that with anybody because that was your special place? Or
Yeah.
did it finally realize like, no, I need to share this because this is who I am, and more the merrier, and let's everybody start to heal here. Everybody
Yeah.
feel the magic.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, I went in about it, and it was very quick. It was like, no, this is a powerful place. This can really help a lot of people, and do this. This will be a very good thing. And so, yeah, so I started. We do them in August, and now we're doing them earlier, like August. A couple. We've done up to 3 or 4 a year. This year we're doing 2 smaller retreats. We have groups come in, or individuals. A lot of times people just come, like I did to yours, which I just think is so much like
Oh, yeah.
but we decided to do it in a way that it's quite out there. You know, if you fly into Buffalo or you fly into Pittsburgh, you fly into Erie, you know, you've got a couple hours to get there still. So we wanted to make it long enough that people could really enjoy it. So we do like Wednesday to Sunday or Thursday to Sunday. And we really focus on the LIA program and the work. I'm getting all the universal
Can you hear
confirmation
it?
from above. Like, yes. So if
I'm
you're
sorry.
listening to this podcast, and I know many people will, from both of our families will, you know, just know that that was confirmation about this space.
Exactly. And
If
that's
you go there, you will hear,
buzzsaws above me.
it is a farm, so you will hear very similar noises sometimes to that.
Yep.
Mowing and sawing and wonderful things happening. But yeah, I felt led to do that. And people have just, you know, loved it. We do movement, we do Qigong, we do Tai Chi, we do meditation. People have a lot of time to work on their own, you know, to take what we do in the mornings and then process. And the water is nearby, hiking. There's a lot of optional things to do. I mean, it's all an option. You could come there and just sit on your porch if that's what you feel like you need to do of your cabin. But you know, it's your retreat. But we don't pack it too full. You know, we provide food and linens and bedding and all that, so people can just kind of come in and show up. But it's an opportunity for people to really disconnect in order to connect. Yeah, your phone won't work there.
Would you like to describe what this place is?
Oh yeah, this is the property's been in my family a long time. It's expanded over a few generations. We're about 3 hours north of Pittsburgh in the Allegheny Mountains, so there's about 500 acres. I mean, and then we're set against the Allegheny, so it just goes on and on and on. People come from all over to hike like Minister Trail and all these different places, and then, you know, my whole family is there. So my parents are there. My brother is there. He runs the business. He is our host for the retreat. And you know, he has the restaurant and the campground, and that's their business. He and my sister-in-law and their family run that. And then my younger sister has a farm down over the hill. So we always go do some animal therapy, and there's horseback riding, and, you know, there's bees and chickens, and it's wonderful. You know,
so it's in the country.
Yes. Yeah. And you can pick your own eggs for breakfast, and you can, you know, and for a lot of people, it's very, you know, we have a lot of people come in from the city because it's a real contrast for them, you know, and I just think they're very wise, you know, they love where they live, but to take themselves and really disconnect from all of that noise and step into the quietness. Yeah, Mother Earth.
Step into their power and their soul.
Yeah.
And listen to it. I love it. I just feel the serenity of it right now.
Yeah,
I really
feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, great. I am so excited because you have so much to offer, and I know my actual listeners would love to know more about you. So tell my listeners where they can reach you.
Sure. So Alignment Essentials, it's exactly how it sounds. .com is the website. So you can always reach us there. You can email us at info@Alignment Essentials. You can find us on social media, all of that good stuff. And you can also find me through the Institute of Shamanic Healing in Oregon. I teach some classes for them, movement classes. I'll be doing that next month. And I'm also going to be working out of a Sage Studio, which is a new mind body studio opening in Erie, PA. So over the summer, it's like an hour and a half one way. I'm so dedicated. But, you know, that's how far I have to go to get to Wegmans. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll be going there and teaching. I'm really excited about that opportunity. So I'm very, very easy to find and would love to hear and serve anyone in any way that I possibly can. And again, just thank you so much for the opportunity.
That's wonderful. Oh my goodness. Well, I am in total awe of you, Jani, and I love being in your energy. And I know my listeners love this, be able to hear your vibration, hear my vibration, the fun that we have, and really what this is all about, working together, standing in our power as women and as men and as humanity as we move forward. So thank you so much for spending this time with me and my actual listeners on Serendipity with Sheila. And I
Thank
want to
you.
thank everybody for listening, and we will see you again. Thank you, everybody.
Much
Bye-bye
love.
now. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Are you looking for tools, jewelry, meditations, and merch to remind you to stay in tune and in the present? Make sure you stop by sheilatillich.com/store, and while you're there, visit sheilatillich.com/subscribe to get a discount code for a free meditation from the store.